My name is Mark Kamau. I'm a human-centered designer. On one hand, I work for BRCK, doing human-centered design work for installing connectivity to people who are in marginalized areas. I also own this small outfit where I'm a director. It's called Designing Futures, and I use that as a platform for doing much broader design work. The collaboration is between BRCK and Danish Refugee Council to try and support the refugee populations in Ziele, which is an informal settlement area in Nairobi. And it's a concentration area for refugees, especially from Somalia. Since COVID, there's been a disruption in education, so the government stopped people going to classrooms, and also there's been a disruption in life. And so in an effort to make sure the refugee population gets appropriate information around COVID, around education, and around protection, because also it's a vulnerable population. Protection information in the language that they understand. They need good quality content, but also access to the internet. Once they log in, they can see, first of all, instead of going to the open internet, they can see available information for them. So it is protection information. And the protection information is animated in Somali, so it's easy for the young population and the Somali population to understand. As Designing Futures, I had a project where we did some research. And the research was to understand the effects of technology, mobile technology, and the gaps between the people who live with disability. In looking at that research, we found that there are a lot of gaps. For example, at the UNHCR call center for refugees, it is not accessible to refugees who have disability. And as a result, then, not only are they refugees and blind or deaf, then they cannot access services. And so we are seeing all these challenges, and we are thinking, how can we design solutions? And so right now we're in the middle of conversations with the UNSERE to say, here's a call center, it's supposed to offer services to them. Which services can pay access, or which services are missing? And can we design those services so that they are accessible? In essence, there are two different projects with two different agreements and two different objectives. It just happens that beyond, there is a convergence, because, for example, in Ziele, where we're installing the Danish Refugee Council tower, also is the population of Somali people with disability. So now the question is, now that connectivity exists and now that information exists, can we make the information accessible also to people with disability? That is where the convergence happens. Can we make it possible for them to also listen to coronavirus updates? Are those updates presented in a way that is an audio file which they can listen to? Is there a sign language interpreter in front of the video when the update happens, so that the person who can't hear can see and actually understand it? So then they also get a service for information and access.